Culture, customs and traditions in Filipino context.
First, let's tackle about culture.
What is culture? A culture is the way of life of a group of people, the behaviors, beliefs, values, and symbols that they accept, generally without thinking about them, and that are passed along by community. Culture is the patterns of learned and shared behavior and beliefs of a particular social, ethnic or age group. It can be described as the complex of whole-of collective human beliefs with a structured stage of civilization that can be specific to a nation of time period. Humans in turn use culture to adapt and transform the world they live in. Culture describes a collective way of life, or way of doing things. It is the sum of attitudes, values, goals, and practices shared by individuals in a group, organization, or society. Culture reflects the moral and ethical beliefs and standards that speak to how people should behave and interact with others. Types of cultures in the Philippines. The Philippines is commonly referred to as a melting pot of Western and Eastern cultures. The traditional cultures of the Philippines is heavily influenced by the traditions of Austronesian people. The cultural landscape also features Spanish, American, Japanese, Arabic and Indonesian influence. The major religions in the country are Christianity and Islam, which have played a significant role in shaping the culture of the Philippines. 1. Sport. The national sport in the country is arnis, a type of martial arts. Boxing is one of the most popular sports in the Philippines, with the country producing global superstar boxer and the only 8-division champion in the world, Manny Pacquiao. Another popular sport is basketball, with the country producing international basketball players such as Robert Jaworski and Carlos Lloyd. 2. Clothing. The Maria Clara is a traditional dress worn by Filipino women. The traditional attire gets its name from a famous character known as Maria Clara in the epic 19th century narrative, Noli Me Tangere, written by Jose Rizal. Another traditional garment of the Philippines is barong Tagalog, normally worn by men during special occasions. 3. Cuisine. An excellent way that the cultural diversity in the Philippines is portrayed is through the local cuisine. The cuisine in the Philippines is influenced by local and foreign cultures. Rice is the staple meal in the country and is usually prepared through steaming and is served together with other foods. The abundance of fish in the country makes seafood another common food in most households, with tilapia, clams, mussels, squid and catfish being salted, fried and served with rice and vegetables. 4. Literature and arts. Ancient Filipino literature was primarily made up of legends and folklore, which were the main forms of literature before the Spanish colonization of the country. These folk tales were based on specific themes and aimed to pass down traditions and cultural beliefs through generations. Ibang Adarna and Florante at Laura were one of the written publications that existed during the Spanish colonial era. The earliest form of art is traced back to 5000 BC through pottery discovered in the Sanga cave. Ancient Filipinos were also gifted tattoo artists who decorated their bodies in multicolored pigmentation with environment-inspired designs. The tattoo work of these ancient Filipinos was done so well that Portuguese explorers called them the painted people or the pintados. 5. Music and dance. The music composed in the Philippines is influenced by all the cultures in the country. The traditional folk songs are primarily inspired by the indigenous customs and beliefs. Dance in the Philippines ranges from traditional indigenous-inspired dances to modern Western-inspired dances. Tinikling is an example of a traditional dance with nationwide appeal. 6. Religion, festivals and holidays. The Constitution of the Philippines provides for the freedom of religion. The Philippines is one of the few Asian countries to have a Christian majority. About 90.07% of Philippines residents identify as Christians, with 80.58% of the population being followers of the Roman Catholic Church and about 11% being other Christian denominations. Islam is the second largest religion in the country with about 5.6% of citizens identifying as Muslim. The majority of the Muslim Filipinos are Sunni Muslims. The cultural diversity in the Philippines is showcased in numerous festivals, locally known as fiestas, which are celebrated in the country. All of the festivals have religious or cultural significance. Due to the predominance of the Roman Catholic faith, most cities and towns in the Philippines have patron saints who are honored through festivals. For instance, the Silmugi Festival held in honor of Saint Sebastian, the Sinulog Festival held in honor of Santo Nino de Cebu, and the Coraldal Festival held in honor of Saint Lucy. While most festivals are only observed in particular regions or towns, some are public holidays which are celebrated all over the country. Some public holidays observed in the Philippines include New Year's Day observed on January 1 Street, the Holy Week observed between March and April, Independence Day observed on June 12, Christmas Day observed on December 25, and Rizal Day observed on December 30th. 7. Social beliefs and customs. The social beliefs and customs practiced in the Philippines are primarily influenced by the religion and demographics of the region where they are practiced. The traditional customs of the indigenous Filipinos are based on the beliefs of the Austronesian inhabitants of the Philippines. Filipino culture is unique compared to other Asian countries, and beliefs apply every day in the life of the Filipinos and reveal how rich and blessed the culture the people have. Our culture is a big reflection of our great and complex history. It is influenced by most of the people we have interacted with, a blend of the Malayo-Polynesian and Hispanic culture with the influence from Chinese, Indians, Arabs, and other Asian cultures really contribute to the customs and traditions of the Filipinos.
Customs and traditions. What is tradition? Tradition is a custom or belief that is passed down through the generations, or that is done time after time or year after year. For Filipinos, traditions in their home and in their family are important. They usually set aside a specific day for a certain celebration like festivals, birthday parties, reunions, etc. And of course, every gathering is dedicated to keeping each other over sumptuous food.
Let's review some of the popular Filipino traditions and find the similarities that bind Filipinos to each other. First on the list is Mano Po, a way of young people to greet or say goodbye to the elderly. It is a way of giving respect to the elder and at the same time receiving blessings from them. They typically do so by taking the right hand of the elder with the right hand and touch the back of the elder's hand lightly on their forehead. Next is Bayanihan. It shows the spirit of communal unity or effort towards a particular aim. Most common example of this is carrying the bahay kubo or hut of the people to be put in a different location without asking for return. Every town and city in the Philippines has a fiesta on its own to commemorate their town's patron saint for their blessings. One of the most grandest and happiest celebration is our very own Sinulog Festival. The celebration is done through dancing, singing, sport activities, pageants, and etc. During this day, the church does a procession of the patron saint. Next is that Filipinos are one of the most hospitable people you may find anywhere. Foreign visitors in the country are treated with the utmost respect. This trait is usually seen during fiestas and holidays, where many Filipinos are giving their best to entertain their visitors well. It is amazing to see that even the simplest home along the road opens their home to a stranger. Filipino hospitality is a trait you can take away from them. Close family ties. Having close family ties is also one of their unique traits. It is one of the outstanding cultural values that the Filipinos have. The family takes care of each other and are taught to be loyal to family and elder by simply obeying their authorities. Having fondness for family reunions during secular and religious holidays such as Christmas, New Year's Eve, All Saints' Day, Holy Week, fiestas, homecomings, birthdays, weddings, graduations, baptisms, funerals, and etc. is evidence that Filipino people valued not only our cultural tradition but the spirit of our family. As Filipinos, we are blessed to have been brought up with strong family ties. Filipino Christmas. It is considered as the longest holiday celebration in the Philippines. Starting at the month of September or the Burr months, people are already feeling the Christmas vibes. As early as September nights, their children can be heard caroling at houses which last until Epiphany, the feast of Black Nazarene on January 9, or the feast of Santo Niño de Cebu on the third Sunday of January. Superstitions. In the Philippines, superstitious beliefs have grown throughout the country. These beliefs have come from the different sayings and beliefs of our ancestors that aim to prevent danger from happening or to make a person refrain from doing something in particular. These beliefs are part of our culture, for one derives their beliefs from the influences of what their customs, traditions, and culture have dictated to explain certain phenomena or to scare people. Some are practiced primarily because Filipinos believe that there is nothing to lose if they will comply with these beliefs. It is very important to know our own traditions and values as Filipinos to further establish our identity as Asian because our traditions and values connect us to where we come from. The traditions we have to speak so much of the struggles and adventures of the people before in order to survive in daily lives. In order to understand the importance and significance of these traditions and values now, we have to understand first how it all started.